Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that video. To help us look in depth at this issue about the impact of Ghana-Chinese trade relations on our economy, I have with me Mr. Henry Yao Mallet, and he's an executive member of the Ghana-China Friendship Association. Welcome to the show this morning, sir.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Fine.
Okay. So this morning we're looking at the impact of trade relations between the two countries, Ghana and. What do you mean when you say you're a friend of the Ghana-Chinese Friendship Association? What is that association?
Okay, but let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and to members of the Ghana-China Friendship Association. Ghana-China Friendship Association endeavors to bring the peoples of the two countries together and try to erase that big barrier of communication that exists. And we should all know that China today, whether we like it or not, is emerging the superpower of the world. Mm-hmm. So if we want to be with them or we want to move along with them, we must better understand them, strengthen relationship not only at governmental level but people to people or business to business. And this is what we're doing. And we are also looking at not only existing in Ghana as friends of Chinese in Ghana, but also operating in China itself, where those who are interested in issues concerning or relationship between the two countries, or who have been to Ghana before and who want to continue being in partnership or being friends of Ghanaians, also join us, and then we can move on from there. That's what we're doing.
Right.
So we are building friendship.
That's wonderful. Now, would you say that the relationship or the friendship between Ghana and China is mutually beneficial?
It depends upon where you are sitting, and it depends upon whether you want to see it as beneficial, because if opportunities are put in front of you and you decide to choose one, that's the only benefit you get. But if you try to choose all, you get more. And I think because I'm answering this question in this manner because Ghana is a small country in Africa. China is a big country. It's actually a continent in the world. And if you look at the population of 1.2 billion and look at the population of Ghana of 24 million, where the joke is that every month or every year there is a new 24 million people born in China. That's a new Ghana born in China every year, even though they have the one-child policy. So if we are friends with China or we want to get something out of China, then we should know what we are looking for.
Okay. What is the volume of trade between the two countries? Now, I'm asking this question because some people are of the view that Ghana is like a market for China consumer goods. We get so much from China, or we import so much from China, but we don't equally export as much. What is the volume of trade?
I think it's about 2 billion, almost to 3 billion as of last year. And I think Ghana should have been doing only about under 200 million. And the difference is that big.
It's huge.
Huge. And I think we should not look at it from the side of China alone. Let me put it this way. I remember some 9 years ago, I visited a company in China and spent 3 days with them. But what was very impressive is that I was welcomed by the Africa department of that private company. It was a private company. They worked with the General Electric of the United States. They produced for them. And in that department, they had a Ghana desk. They had a Togo desk. They had a Benin desk. And the person who was at the Ghana desk has been working there for 10 years. So everything that is going on in Ghana, they know about it. How many companies in Ghana have China desk? Or even the USA desk? How do we do? It's only when we wake up in the morning and realize that we have been overtaken in a certain area that we start crying. Like that sort of a knee-jerk approach to things. I think this is the time for us to sit up and look at what we want to do, who we want to engage in whatever activity. And I think we'll be making progress.
Okay. Now you mentioned that the volume of trade with regards to Ghana and sending to China is about 200 billion. What exactly are we?
billion, and Ghana
200 million.
200 million.
What exactly are we exporting to China?
I think,
what do we take to China?
I think it's more of a non-traditional, and I don't think we are doing any major exports. What I know is that there was an effort on the part of GACHIFA, the Ghana China Friendship Association, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority last year, to make a frontal entry into the China market. So they participated in the forestry fair in Yiwu, one of the cities in China that is attracting a lot of foreign investments and foreign business. And we hope that entry with several others will encourage Ghana also to send more non-traditional products into the China market so far. But right now, I don't think we are doing anything much.
Okay, but the difference is quite huge.
It's huge.
When you look at it, and I'm thinking, what can we do with regards to trade relations to create a shared prosperity?
Yes, there are. We may not immediately, we can bridge the gap. Okay, but let's look at it from this angle. We do not have the capital. We do not have the technology. There are several opportunities that exist here. The last time I was there, there was a story of soil pollution and in China. And the Chinese were talking, saying, we've been hearing about air pollution, water pollution. We've not heard of soil pollution before, but it was hitting them hard, and which means that it's going to have a major impact on the agriculture. What about the situation here? Africa is a vast area, virtually virgin in quotations, but we can produce to feed China, but we do not have the wherewithal to produce. So what we need to do is to engage China, their capital, which is vast, the technology that is beyond doubt, and make sure that we produce for their market, and we will benefit from it also.
Okay. Now, China is a great friend to Ghana in terms of financial support when it comes to grants and loans and all of that. But it's also very, very obvious that some of these grants and loans are tied to the hire of Chinese products, Chinese materials, and Chinese companies. How can we go around this? Because if they're giving us grants and loans and there are stringent measures for us to use Chinese technology, Chinese products, for whatever developmental projects we're using these monies for, then how can we produce or manufacture as well to bridge that gap?
I don't think I want to hold brief for China under such circumstances, but I think, if my memory serves me right, Europeans do the same. They won't give you money to go and buy Chinese products, or Americans will give you a loan to go and buy European or other products, or Indians or whatever it is. So if the Chinese, but what I know is that if they are giving us money, the money that they are giving us is just tied to something. Exactly. They come and negotiate with us, and it's for us to know our priorities, what we want. You see, there's a big problem here. When I come to you and tell you, I don't have money in my pocket, you can decide to say, okay, clear the weeds in my backyard and I'll give you so much. That sort of thing. But if I come to you and say, I have a project and I need funding, if you want something from me, I'll give it to you. But if you give me money for that particular project and you can support me in that, then you can have what you want also. I think if we tie it that way, we'll be able to get in some reward or better things out of them, just by waiting and say, okay, we want to build a railway system, so can you help us? And they say, fine. We'll give you the labor, we'll give you the money, and we'll put all these conditionalities down. Again, I'm not in policy, and I cannot say it for government, but I think that is also another area for our negotiators to be very strong at.
So it's just a matter of us negotiating well.
Yes.
Being careful about the terms and conditions that we agree to.
Yes.
Okay. Would you agree that the Ghana's manufacturing sector has collapsed because of Chinese imports?
I'll say no. Blunt no. I've worked with the manufacturing sector for several years. And I'll tell you one thing for nothing, that we are only making noise. And I mean it to every extent, that we are only making noise. When I hear everybody saying, I think we're making noise. I went to China about 3 weeks ago. I saw some people coming to buy beads, plastic beads, a whole container load to bring down to sell in Ghana. And I said, oh, they were Ghanaians. I said, oh, we are getting beads now from China. Very soon to be a major issue that beads are coming from China. Once we produce here, we are not buying the Ghana one. But is that the issue? I've been in publishing for several years. I print in India. And I've been talking to people. I said, we can do the printing in Ghana. Why are we doing it in India? Why are we publishing our textbooks in India? I was happy when the government came out with a new budget to say that they were taking all taxes off printing of textbooks and SIS books. Have we evaluated the import of that? If you go to the manufacturing sector, you realize that the regime, instead of they sitting down and discussing what will inure to the benefit of production, they are rather looking at what somebody is doing from outside. We high tariff costs, all the cost areas are there. If you look at it, there are so many things that can be done to help the Ghanaian manufacturing sector grow. Agriculture is not growing. If these are the issues that we want to talk about, let's look at it from that side. But I'm telling you that we ourselves are not encouraging manufacturing, to take place, whether in policy or in practice. Because if they have a furniture company that will wake up in the morning, instead of producing furniture, go to China and buy furniture, will you blame the Chinese for they coming to buy furniture from them? They are in business to make money. The textiles, the same thing. I was telling some friends of mine in textiles that I was in Shanghai and Calvin Klein. They mounted a stand at a mall, like a Accra mall, and they had these two models, a man and a woman, and they were walking up and down. People were taking pictures with them all over there. Calvin Klein is not Chinese. Why can't a Chinese TV presenter wear what you're wearing? But you must get there.
This is actually made in Ghana, though. This is made by a Ghanaian designer.
Exactly. Why can't they wear it there? I was watching a program, and there was a lady, a Chinese lady, was wearing an African print. But because I'm an African, I could identify it. But we have to bring that consciousness to bear on the Chinese market because it's huge. We're not making the effort.
What is the state of our relationship between Ghana and China at the moment? I mean, I know not too long ago we deported a huge number of Chinese who were indulging in illegal mining activities. Has this kind of led to a breakdown in relationship between the two countries?
I think there have been some rough tactics and knocks from both sides, and it's not been pleasant. But one should look at it from another angle, that if such things happen, we have to look at how we can mend fences and improve upon it. But the issue of the Galamsey that came up, I think if we continue blaming the Chinese only, then we will have ourselves to blame tomorrow. The Ghanaians who went to bring them, the Chinese who doesn't even speak a single word of English, no Chi or Ga or Ebe, he comes in and finds a village which name I cannot pronounce, and he's there mining. How could that be possible? Is he a migration officer? Do we have Chinese people in the immigration? Do we have them all over the place? How do you call it, as tour operators and that sort of thing, to get into the various hinterlands to go and mine gold? It is Ghanaians who brought them. I think it is important for us to strengthen our laws. Let us not forget that there are also illegal Ghanaians in China or anywhere in the world. It is for the laws of the land to work, and then we wouldn't have these problems. But let's look at the Galamsey issue again. I know one thing for a fact, that China has high-tech equipment, and the technology itself to do proper mining without damaging the environment.
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is that we should confront, or we go and sit down with the embassy, with the Chinese government, and say, look, we have this problem on our hands. How do we solve it? If they give us this high tech, which will benefit our small scale mining people, which will even lead to second level processing, where they can do simple ornaments and everything and take back to China.
So you're saying we should look at a way of legalizing it to make it beneficial to us?
I'm not saying legalizing. I am saying that we should find a way to take out the negativity and turn it to positives.
I hope this will not affect our loan, our 3 billion Chinese loan. When are they bringing the remaining 2 billion?
I don't know. Maybe you might have to ask the how do you call it, the governor or the Minister of Finance. But I think that we can get more money, more investments out of China, not only from the government but from the private sector, because whether we like it or not, we are being told that by December this year the number of billionaires in China will surpass that of the United States.
I have no doubts about that.
That's what they say, because I think they have not surpassed that already. Maybe they are playing that down. But it is for us as Ghanaians to wake up and work hard and go into partnership with China or Chinese. Today they're doing well with Ethiopia and Kenya. We're talking about Africa. They're doing well with South Africa. Let me look at another area which is also trade. See, look at tourism. It's export. It's not import. They make Chinese are the highest travelers in front of our numbers in the whole world. The what they call it, the spend on tourism per year is about $102 billion.
But where are they traveling to? Where do they travel to?
Good question. They go to Europe, who are saying we shouldn't be friends with China. The United States, who are saying we shouldn't be friends with China. Australia, New Zealand. They go to South Africa. Last year, 2012, official statistics show that 6 million Chinese went to South Africa. What we should realize is that there are economic tourists, and they are high earning and a high level, how they call it, tourists also who travel. A majority of the people who travel are not economic tourists from China. They go out and spend money. And if we have even a traffic of 1 million, it will change the fortunes of the country. Just 1 million, not 6 million. I went to South Africa.
And just 1 million of Chinese tourists in Ghana.
So we need to look, you see, we need to position ourselves to do so much with China. It's not a question, because the negatives that are out are more than the positives that are in the wings that we must grab.
So there's a lot more that we can do.
We must do a lot.
Okay. Now, last year, the Bank of Ghana said that it would introduce the Chinese yuan onto the Ghana Stock Exchange. How do you think this will impact or affect the stock exchange?
I think that may be for the stock exchange itself to talk about. But I think if let me take it from another angle, because I don't want to talk from an economic point of view. But Ghana, we trade
in cities.
I know, but we pride ourselves that we are number one in everything and everything. But I can assure you that they don't know us in China, maybe in official circles. We need to sell ourselves so much in China. So if the stock market also is going to attract the yuan, it will be actually attracting Chinese investment money into Ghana, which we need.
Okay. The governor also said that they would allow the banks to quote and sell Chinese yuan. What do you think about that?
It should, in this particular instance, I think it should rather help the Ghanaian trader who goes to China, because you may have to take this dollar.
And we have a lot of those, thousands.
Dollar or euro, which is a third currency, to go and change into yuan over there, the transaction fees and everything, and putting pressure on the dollar and all. So if we trade in CD to yuan, it's very easy to open a bank account even in China. You can use the Eco Bank or the Stanbic Bank, open an account and cash your money in China. You don't need to carry so much money on you, dollars and so. It will reduce the pressure, because if we are talking about China as a major trading partner or the leading trading partner, I think this is the time for it.
Okay. Now, gradually, China or the Chinese are invading Africa, or they are penetrating into the African market. I think just last month, for instance, their premier had a four-country tour visit to Africa. Now, some people are saying that they are pumping so much money into Africa because of what they hope to get back. Do you think this is a form of neo-colonialism?
I think they're not pumping enough to start with, because they have so much.
They need to give us more.
You see, I was listening to one of the professors recently and said, in the Western world, we fragment, we disseminate, but in China they multiply. So they don't even have answers to their figures. So instead of talking about things in percentage terms and say 2%, 3%, they rather multiply. So we need to be multiplying. We need to see how much we can get out of them. But when you talk about whether they are coming in strategically to come and what did you say?
Neo-colonialism.
Neo-colonialism, this or something like that. I think we should rather be looking at it from, if you say something like that, it's from both ends. Like I was saying, if you come to me and tell me that I demand this from you, then you are saying something. But if you come to me and say, let's go into partnership, what we need, and I think what the Chinese are bringing is partnership. But do we understand that partnership? Are we for partnerships? That is what they're asking. We talk about strategic partnership. What I remember is what they have as a joint commission, permanent joint commission for cooperation between two countries. And I think the last time I checked, the last one that was held in Ghana, or the first one that was held in Ghana, was several years ago. We've not been able to revive it, to hold it in China. We need to have a Ghana-China policy. We need to have that joint commission working so that we can have so much partnerships, not only allowing Chinese to come and take advantage of what is on the ground in China here. We need them to come and partner us, bring the technology, bring the money.
Right. Good. On that note, what are we learning from the Chinese in terms of technology and skills? I mean, it goes without saying that the Chinese are probably number one when it comes to technology and all of that. What are we learning from them?
It depends upon which area or sector. I think they've been granting scholarships.
They have. I think that currently there are about 700 Ghanaian students in universities in China.
And I think they can give more.
You're like Oliver Twist. You just want us to keep taking.
No, I am not. I'm being realistic. And realism may bother on something, because if somebody can give you 10,000 and you go for 20.
But we are taking. What are we giving back to them? Do we also have institutions, or do we have programs where Chinese students also come to Ghana to also learn some kind of training or anything like that?
There are programs. I think there are exchange programs that take place, and there's a lady at Kokrobite who bring in Chinese students. But we need to encourage such, because one of the things that I learned is our way of life. There was a Chinese minister who did share her experience in public, was talking about her son who came to stay with a diplomat in Ghana. Because of this one-child policy, they pamper their children, and especially the rich. So when he came, he was told to hoover, boil water, do a lot of things, and he thought he was going to go back. But they kept him here. After 3 weeks, he was the man of the house. And when he went back home, the parents were in bed, and he did fix some coffee for them, some tea for them to drink. And they were surprised. We have that even as a tourism product to sell. If we can bring people to live in homes here, but we must sell it.
Okay. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Mr. Henry Yao Mallet. He's an executive member of the Ghana-China Friendship Association, and he's been talking to us about the impact of Ghana-China trade on our economy. Many thanks to you once again for coming this morning.